What is up, people? You know who it is. It's your boy, or that guy Oddly, or formerly known as Oddshot Gaming. And, well, I guess here I am, telling part 3. Before I do start talking, I just wanted to say that this is that in case if I had made this clear, that this isn't a story that should be told to children. So before listening, he he does have some inappropriate themes that children shouldn't be exposed to, and that viewer discretion is advised. And I also want to say that to get the full grasp of this, I recommend that you watch part 1 and part 2 about where I in order to understand the full story of this, because I'm just gonna pick off where I left off. So I guess before I start telling what happened back then, I guess there's one note I should say is that as a guy, I know that probably since we were all probably told as little kids that, well, we aren't allowed to feel, like we're not allowed to show our emotions because doing so is a sign of weakness. But let me tell you, that is nothing more than a lie, because because you allow yourself to not feel, well, all you're gonna do is bottle those emotions, and it's just gonna progressively get worse and worse. So, and well, today you're going to be hearing where my bottle finally let loose in high school. Okay, so to pick up where I left off, I told my mother I watched porn. I listened to some Christian music, and that's really helped bring me a sense of peace and easiness. And that, yeah, had had debated my existence, which, we're gonna call him you know what, let's just call him Cam. And he was there still trying to make a mess of my high school life at the time. And I won't, and I'm pretty sure I've said it before, but I was patient with him. Now the thing is, I probably wouldn't have been, because since probably day one, I wanted to knock him out, like punch him in the face. But the reason why I didn't do so was because, well, my school had a no tolerance for fighting, and that would have gotten me expelled. And I obviously didn't want to get expelled out of a private school and end up going to a neighborhood school, which wouldn't have been all that great. So I just held it in, and I let that rage and anger in me build. And even though I was doing things like sparring and her again karate and all that, but it still didn't keep that rage from boiling, because I mean, it just potentially just kept getting worse. And like I said at the very beginning, I mean, the bottle just, it can only hold so much until it pops off. And the thing about holding your emotions in is that it makes you more prone to anger. It makes you more impatient, which, although no, you've met me before, but I am rather patient. with people sometimes, and he was testing him very badly. And he just thought it was all just a sick joke to him, which I wasn't laughing. So I grew content with it because I thought, hey, come on, just 2 more years, and and he's gone. Well, actually, 1 more year, since this was my junior year in high school. So I just thought, just a few more months, and he's gone, and he's completely out of my hair, and I don't have to worry about him ever again. And so I just dealt with it. I kept dealing with it, but eventually one day I couldn't take it. I don't remember what happened specifically that day exactly, but I knew that I already was peeved already. I don't know, maybe I must have failed a test or something. I know it was on a Friday, and your boy doesn't really like you whenever I failed tests. So as I remember, I was already a little bit upset and a little bit angry, and so it was a free period. It was actually Bible class, but still basically was a free period because it was Friday and our teacher was allowing that. So I was like, cool. And I was allowed to be on my phone, so I figured, then I'm gonna sit this period out and not do anything, like nothing. I'm just gonna watch videos and go to my last few periods of class. I don't remember which period it was, but I know I was reaching near the end of the day. And so I was just sitting there minding my own business with my best friend right beside me. And then this guy had the nerve to walk up to me. He decided to get on my nerves, and I said, bro, I'm not in the mood. Well, then again, I never was, but just specifically today just wasn't it. I wasn't having it. But no, he decided to keep doing what he wanted to do. And so since he saw that I was already a bit pissed, he thought it was a great idea to take a cap full of tea, like one of those tea, like Lipton tea, and he had in a plastic bottle. Well, yeah, he decided to pour some in a cap, and he dumped it on me. And I remember seeing this is when it happened. He just was smiling, and almost on some light Yagami type crap from Death Note, that freaking scumbag. And he smiled at me. He laughing like that was the funniest thing. I don't know if the whole class saw that. I know my buddy saw that. And he didn't do anything. But when that happened, he went back to sit over with some of the seniors, and so I was sitting there just going, he just poured tea on me. And then when that happened, the rage in me just came out. I told myself, don't do it, but eventually I just let it all go. I remember this vividly. I got up, and the only words I said throughout this whole ordeal was I told it to my best friend. Although he told me he didn't hear me say it, I said, "Watch my backpack." And so I got up, I was quiet, like, hey. And so I saw him sitting in a chair. I walked up towards him. He looked me dead in the eye, and so did I. And so I kicked him out the chair. Here. And so, well, and so when that happened, apparently I didn't notice, but that brought the whole class's attention. Like, all eyes were on me, but I didn't notice it at the time because I was so livid that the only thing I was concerned about was how I was hurting him. And so, what I did was I took, I think, my left or right foot and pulled my foot back, so therefore my heel would be the first thing that hits his chest. And I slammed down on him while yanking his arm at the same time. I could see that he was in agony, but I didn't stop. I didn't want to stop. I saw that he was in agony. I saw that he was in pain, and believe it or not, I thought I was being merciful. Like, I really mean that. Yeah, like I probably like if I was really, really angry, I probably would have wanted to see blood, which probably would have horrified me and horrified my classmates. But there's no sign of me stopping. Like, probably at the rate I was going, I would have probably maybe pulled his arm out of his socket or something. And right when this happened, apparently the principal and the one of the teachers actually pulled me off, and right then and there, it was like I flipped the switch off. Because whenever I get angry, like when I ever get really angry, it's like a switch flips. It's like I'm no longer this kind guy that you see. When I get to that point, I get quiet. I got no words for you. Like, I'm ready to scrap. Yeah. And so when that happened, I was just thinking, yeah. The teacher asked me, "Hey, are you all right?" And I was like, yeah, but mentally I wasn't okay. Not because I didn't hurt him, because I realized what I had done, and that I got into a fight, and because of that, I realized, oh crap, I'm gonna get kicked out of school. And right when this happened, the principal was chewing out the whole class because they saw this whole thing happen, and none of them tried to stop me. I think they were too surprised because they thought, he won't fight back. Heck, he wouldn't dare hit somebody. But they didn't know that I would actually fight back because, well, I never was one who was prone to be violent, but he pushed me. So there I was, sitting in the main office, sitting in one of the chairs outside of the principal's office and the dean. And so I was just sitting there, just coming to terms, just thinking, oh crap, I got into a fight, I'm gonna get kicked out. I think I might have been shaking a little bit. I never was one who really got into too much trouble at my age at that time. But since I knew that the school had zero tolerance for fighting, I thought, oh, I'm gonna end up getting kicked out. And I just felt like everything was crashing down. Like all that suffering I went through, all that time where he annoyed me, and hardly anyone bothered to help me. I just felt like it was all for nothing. I think I'm gonna get kicked out. I'm never gonna see these people again, and then I'm gonna have to go to my neighborhood school. I remember I called my mother to help me get there because this was before I could drive, so she always picked me up. Well, I told her what happened, and she's gonna be right over. And so she came in, and we went and talked to my principal. And she told her all the things that were happening between me and Cam, and the principal was like, I was not aware of this. She didn't know that this was going on because the previous principal, we've told him, but he kind of did. He kind of didn't do jack. Think about it. And the thing was I thought my world was gonna come crashing down, but surprisingly, it didn't. Although at the time I didn't know this because I was just sitting there thinking, "Oh crap, everything's coming to an end." We're talking to the principal, and all this is happening. So after we had the talk, so after my mother and her had the talk, and I told everything that happened from my side of the story, and also before I say anything else, apparently they said on Cam that there was a footprint near his neck, and that he had issues breathing. And yeah, there wasn't a scratch on me. He didn't do jack. And so after the talk, after the adults talk, I walked out with my mother, and a lot of the people who came to know me, they said, "Hey, bye." They told me goodbye because they thought I wasn't coming back. So as we got in my mom's car, and she decided to drive. So she decided to drive so we could pick up my brother since he went to a different school. I was sitting there just thinking, oh great, what would my mom say about this? Because my mother doesn't really appreciate being called up for this. But she told me that I was getting suspended from school. I was thinking, what? So I'm not gonna get expelled? I thought. Apparently, the principal, well, although I didn't say this before, but the principal was actually my math teacher back in like 9th or 10th grade. But when the old principal retired, she became the principal. And well, since it was a small school, she knew basically my whole class, and she knew that I wasn't the type of person who would just go and start hitting on people. That I was rather chill. And so she decided to suspend me instead because it was the rules. And so I was just thinking, great. Now that I didn't feel so hot about getting suspended, and neither was my mom really proud about that, but I didn't get in trouble that day. And well, basically after that, after we picked up my brother and we got some subs from Publix, I remember those days I was suspended. I spent my time listening to Johnny Cash because it has Hurt, by the way. And I was just thinking I let myself give in. I let him have power over me, and maybe it wouldn't have happened if I didn't bottle my emotions, or maybe it wouldn't have happened if I just still kept being patient, but I wasn't having it. I just wasn't. But yeah, I kind of felt a little self-loathing. I mean, I was just sitting there just thinking that, yeah, I messed up. And even though, yeah, sure, he was the one who came physically injured, but I was the one thinking I messed up. So, come the day I had to go back to school, everybody was surprised to see me. And then, yeah, and that was and since I said it was a small school, everybody thought I was getting suspended. And when I came back there, it was all shots, and they're thinking, oddly defeated, he did Cam. Although it's not like he was a strong guy, but like I said, he was really, really annoying. Like, he was annoying everybody else. I mean, just like I said before in probably part 2, that this guy, I was nuts. It's like something was up with him. I remember one of my teachers told me that, yeah, moving forward, don't aim for the neck. But what could I really say? I was angry, and plus, I know I did, because I know where my foot was. It might have been close to his neck, but it wasn't directly on his neck. And yeah, kids was also saying, hey, you was about to kill that man. And I'll never forget one of the ugliest things my Bible teacher told me. He told me, you took one for the team. I was just thinking, bro, what? But yeah, I was thinking, what the heck, teacher? And well, I knew for the rest of that year and probably up to my graduation that everybody who knew me saw me in a different light. And like, they knew that if push come to shove, they would fight back. That I would fight back. And I think because they knew that, they decided to stop messing with me for probably for about as long as I can remember. And it's not like they were bad. It's just, I guess they sort of learned that hey, you piss him off, he will fight back. And actually, I had a few days where I didn't have to worry about him. Yeah, he got a longer suspension than me. I think he got 5 days and I got 2. Wait, no. Might have been 4. I don't remember. Either way, I had a few days. And when he came back, yeah, he had nothing to say. Matter of fact, this guy even had the nerve to say he let me win. Now, I don't know how retarded that is, but I don't care who you are. Right? If you hit me, we fighting. And I mean, I don't know where in your mind would say just let someone hit you. Just no. No. That's not how I was taught, and that's not how you should roll either. And come further down the line, and he did stop messing with me for quite a while. I guess although he didn't want to say it, but I guess I did sort of mess him up mentally. Until one day he had pushed me down to some stairs. Now I don't remember how this happened. I do know I was running, I guess because he was about to do some stupid crap. I was just trying to get away from him. He was starting this bull crap up again. And well, he hit me he pushed me into some stairs. And that caused my knee to get swollen. I believe it was my left knee, I believe. And actually for a while, like for years, like my knees would make cracking sounds. That's after it got healed. Yeah. I would think I was crying from the pain and just thinking, this guy just won't stop. And well, although probably the appropriate action was to probably he should have gone to the dean about this, but But I didn't think about that at the time. I was just trying to walk it off, look fine, and get to my next class. And which he said I was just playing with my friend. I was thinking, what is wrong with you? I could have been severely injured. I mean, I could have lost teeth. I could have suffered some permanent damage, which luckily it's like I haven't. All right, and so yeah, I didn't. I don't know if I told the dean the next day. Yeah, I did tell him the next day because he wasn't there the day prior to this happening, and so he told me, "Wait, why didn't you tell me this?" Well, I don't know. Maybe it's because I was trying to walk up from the pain, and maybe because you wasn't there here when I tried. Right, and so, Cameron. Cam got in trouble, and so my mother had to call up. We called up again, and after that, my mother told me this afterwards, but when she saw him and she saw that he was laughing about the fact that I was in pain, my mother actually wanted to actually punch a kid. I mean, even though he was 17, I believe, but he was close to getting 18. But my mother was gonna let herself subjugate to that. Yeah, she doesn't play when she gets into mama bear mode. And so actually, when he got called up to the office, they couldn't find him. I don't know where he ran off to, but they couldn't find him. Yeah, he was in trouble, and that was his last straw. Just so he could graduate, since he was a senior and the school year was coming to an end, he wasn't allowed to be on campus. Not anymore. He had to do all his schooling from home. And he would only show up to turn in all his work. And with that, I was rid of him. Matter of fact, the last time I saw him face to face, this was when I remember I was doing track for 1 year, just a little bit, and I was going upstairs to get some water, and he opened the door, passed by, and he opened the door, looked at me. He had no words, I didn't. We both looked at each other, and we both went about our ways. So, what came after that was he graduated, and afterwards I never saw him again. But unfortunately for me, although he wasn't gone, he left me mentally damaged. And then I had my own other demons at the same time. Yeah, come my senior year, I was back to being, kind of an outcast. It's not that people made me that way, it's just after all the fiasco, all the drama with him, I just couldn't bring to really open myself up to people again, except like the small friend group I had. But even sometimes I wouldn't hang out with him, I'd just be by myself. So even though he was no longer on my nerves and it did not make me feel miserable, I still kind of was, because I was just thinking everything that happened is still in there. Actually, matter of fact, that year I made what was it, part 1 or part 2? I don't remember, but I actually suffered trauma from that. Because all those memories came rushing back to me. And I cried. I was just thinking, again, I was just miserable. Like, I was depressed. Which also we'll talk about that later. But anyways, so I was alone once again. And I was left to suffer the mental damage that happened afterwards from all that. I believe I was kind of a little bit harsh to my best friend because, well, I couldn't really trust him like that. Although now he's actually a decent guy now. So I kind of feel a little bit bad for that. And yeah, during lunchtime I would just sit by myself, eat my lunch, maybe watch a video, but yeah, that was it. Everybody would be outside, and I guess my stupid excuse for not going outside was because it's crowded out there, which wasn't a lie, because it was crowded outside. But I guess I just didn't want to be bothered. I didn't want to trust people. I think it's because of this that when I got asked to the prom one time, and that I thought she asked me out of pity, and I didn't see myself as a catch. I just thought that I wasn't worth anyone's time. And I shot her down rather bad, and for a while that sort of dawned on me. I had some pretty bad moments. But it was also during that senior year that I found a bit of peace. I went to my first ever basketball game. Actually, no, I went to a few actually. The one where we kind of went to a different city. He had to take a bus there. And at the time I was driving. And also during my senior year, I didn't do track for good reasons, because you wasn't doing it on actual track. And maybe that's another video I'll talk about. But anyways, so I started having some happy moments. I even went to a dance one time, and although it wasn't the prom, but I was dressed up as LL Cool J, and I looked good. I danced, I talked to some of my classmates, and the only sad part was that I wish I could have done more. And I probably said this before, and I know that it's not his fault that I had a bad school years. It was my fault. I let him get to me. I should have kept doing what I liked. But my own short-sightedness and me bottling my emotions kind of led me to that. And so, come a little during spring, the last thing I remember like right before spring break, this was like right before the pandemic hit, and it was the final game for our team. And in the end we lost, and it was kind of like a free day. Like we wasn't doing classwork, and some kids left early and some stayed to watch the game, which I did. Matter of fact, right when our team lost the final, I said, well, this was nice. I'll see y'all the next week after. I remember I signed myself out and hopped in my car and went straight home to watch anime and all that stuff. To find out that spring break was a bit more extended because, well, the pandemic hit. And when that happened, happened both me and my brother was homebound, and we wasn't really allowed to leave the house because, well, we didn't want to run the risk of getting sick, and well, we had to do an online. We had to finish all our classes online, which I did do. But also, I guess during that pandemic, it gave me time to think and reflect on some of my actions, which I'll talk about that later. And so, crap, I'm losing my words here. And so, come when my So come around during the summer, where my school actually managed to pull through, and we actually got ourselves we had a graduation. So I know, we was all in person, although it wasn't the graduation we all wanted. It was only our immediate family and not, everybody, his family members for outside. It could come to, but this is what they did watch the recording. And actually, I remember this from the graduation. The valedictorian gave a bad speech. She said, "Hey, this year sucked." Now, of course, a valedictorian speech is supposed to be encouraging, it's supposed to be uplifting, but that was the opposite. Which, sadly, at first I did agree with it, but now that I'm older and as I said, had time to reflect, I realized that, that was pretty selfish. Because in the end, some schools were just sending their diplomas to them, they wasn't getting an actual graduation. But our school said they want us to have one. And she basically crapped on all that. And so for once in a graduation, the salutatorian, which in case you didn't know that's the person who's second behind the valedictorian, which was actually the girl that actually asked me to the prom at one time, and I didn't know had feelings for me. Like I said, I was in a really dark place. It was during that time. And she actually came and fixed it. And it was nice. And actually, the valedictorian, I did ask her out to the prom because I figured I crapped it up. I was sort of in a love triangle. We're not going to talk about that, but she first told me yes, and then she told me to think about it, and I never got that replied, so yeah, she rejected me. But hey, it's alright. I mean, it happens. But it was also come that, but even though I graduated and I move on to college, I wouldn't be out of the woods just yet. So come after my graduation, it was during the summer, I wanted to do something because, like I said, I was homebound, and this was during when the pandemic really hit, and nobody, people were losing their jobs, and people were staying in their houses because they didn't want to, catch the virus. And as a matter of fact, my dojo was closed for the time being because, the pandemic kind of canceled that. Matter of fact, for a while, sparring wasn't allowed for good reasons. And so, it was actually right during that summer, I actually started this channel. I figured I had nothing better to do with all this time, so I said, and might as well invest in becoming a YouTuber. And that's where I started making all those gameplay videos, because I like playing video games, and even though currently right now I haven't been playing as much for reasons which I'll actually tell why that is, and probably why I've been silent. And I actually grew to enjoy it, because I did like playing video games, and I like talking, like, other than just sitting there in silence. And plus, you guys who comment down on my videos, you really do encourage me. And it was actually because I actually was making content that I actually came to know some certain people. Now, although you guys didn't know it, but in that one video, I don't remember which one it was, but I think it was In Silence Part 2. It was one of the In Silence videos where I was talking to a group of people, and I'll probably put an image of it, so therefore you know which one I'm talking about. And it was actually from these people that I joined a Discord server, and although, yeah, some things might be sketchy about Discord, but these are actually good people. And over time, I didn't want to open up again, because still I had the scars of the past still haunt me. Matter of fact, it was during that time I didn't trust the person who invited me to Discord. I thought that there was some ill intent in there, especially with it being online, but eventually, as I kept talking and they got to know me, and I got to know them, I eventually started to open up again. And I even told them what happened with me in high school, which you guys are watching. Thanks for hearing some 19-year-old at the time talk about his problems. And so that's when I started making voiceovers about this, and to where we are now. Even though the last time I did a voiceover was probably, by the time this gets posted, probably it'll be a year by now since I made the last one. But I felt like this was a story that I needed to tell, something that I needed to get off my chest. And so crap, I am losing my train of thought here. But so I wanted to move on. But it was also at the same time that my demons started popping back up. You see, when I graduated high school, I had no idea what I wanted to be. So I was just kind of every day living in the moment. And even this was happening, even when the pandemic started slowing down, I still didn't look into it. I guess I just thought it was going to just happen, but no, I did nothing. And I kind of got caught up with what my brother was doing, because while I was just doing regular high school, he was actually doing dual enrollment. So right off the bat, when he got into college, he sort of skipped a year or two. And so I felt like I was behind, because my brother was sort of always the academic kid, you got that one sibling that's good at academics, and that was him. Not saying that I was bad in high school, it's just I was slowly realizing that if I study and put time into it, then I would be pretty good at academics. Yeah, because when I was younger, I know I was bad, just bad with academics altogether. Like, shoot, I was happy to so much as get a C on a test. But and so I think with that I somewhat, although it's still a mystery as to how I got depressed, I think there were a number of factors. That I was watching porn, and I was and that I felt like I had no purpose, and that I was just getting nowhere, and I just felt like everything was pointless. It like nothing mattered. Like it didn't matter what I did, or what I did or what I said. It just nothing mattered. And even though I was working towards my AA, which by the way, hey boy, I almost has. I just gotta do one more class, but I felt like the clock was ticking and I had nothing. While my brother, he knew what he wanted to do, and while I had nothing, and I guess that somebody felt inadequate because I was thinking, why don't I know what I want? Why do I know? How come I don't know what I want to be? Well, he does, and so I just became depressed once again. I was alone, even though I was in the house. But matter of fact, there were times where I was just home alone, and I couldn't really tell anyone. Although I did tell my brother at first, but the reason why I didn't tell my folks at first was because I thought how they would view me. Just like how when I told my mother I watched porn and all that. But I didn't tell her that. I told her the other thing. Just know I was having sessions. Let's just say that. And the main reason why I didn't want to tell was because I remember this from high school. I remember I said I was depressed, but my mother told me Christians don't get depressed. And hearing that, I was thinking, oh, I just gotta just walk it off. But no, you can't. And I can say this from personal experience that depression isn't something you can just flip a switch off. Shoot, I wish I could have done that. That would save me a lot of time, effort, and for pain and suffering. But no, it doesn't work like that. You gotta take a step each time. All right, one step at a time. And eventually you'll get better. And so I just thought I was failing my religion. I thought I can't allow myself to be depressed, so I guess I just let myself be in self-denial. I didn't want to accept that I was depressed. I was essentially ignoring the problem, which by the way, you should not do. You should not ignore the problem. That's the worst thing that you can do. And so for the longest time, I do that whole people ask you how you are, you just say you're fine when in actuality you're not fine. And usually they pick up on it. Matter of fact, my mother did, and she tried to ask me what was going on, which for a while she did stop because she realized that she wasn't going to get any leeway with that. But so this is where those people I met online, you know what? No, the rats. We're gonna call them that. This is where I met the rats. Same people I met. Well, I was recording that one time. That they heard me out. They heard out all my pain, all my suffering, my depression. Because another thing I find very evil about depression is that it saps your willpower. It saps your willpower to keep going on. Because when you get stuck in a rut, which by the way, in case you don't know what a rut is, it's basically where you live the same day over and over again. There's hardly any difference friends, and trust me, to live with that same type of misery or pain, it's agony. It's agony for your mental state, and trust me, if you're not mentally well, then you're not well all over. You're not well emotionally. You're not well physically. I mean, so you gotta keep yourself in check. Matter of fact, there's a good song hung about being unwell. It's called "Unwell" by Twin Matches. My bad, "Unwell" by 20 Matches. It's a really good song. And if you're feeling like I was, then I recommend you give it a listen to. It might make you cry, or it might make you feel like you're not alone. And so they heard me out. And I felt like at the very least I couldn't open up to the people that were currently in my life, but I felt like I could open up to them, and in a way it did help me carry on. So eventually one day I was out with my best friend in high school. Matter of fact, we saw a movie, Thor: Love and Thunder, which, by the way, he asked me mid-movie, but I told him what was happening with me. I told him that I was just depressed. I didn't tell him because I guess I thought I'd be judged. Because you see, the thing with things like depression is just, you feel like people would treat you different. You feel like they will misjudge you or something like that. And so you decide not to tell them. And plus, it leaves you in a very vulnerable spot. But so I told him. And he was like, "I'm sorry about that." And when I got back at home, I told my mother, "I'm doing better." And she was asking me what. And at first, I wavered to tell, but then I sat down and I told her everything that was on my mind. And well, she told me herself that in some cases she herself gets depressed, and I was thinking, I had no idea. Matter of fact, I brought up the reason why I couldn't tell her at first was because what she told me all those years ago about how Christians don't get depressed. And when I told her that, she told me that was unfair. And I'm not trying to get into religious, but but despite all this, I still kept reading the word. I still kept praying still. And there's nothing wrong with that. But but all while feeling this pain in me. And she told me some things that I didn't even know at first. And well, and for the first time, I felt that I was slowly but surely making progress. Is that I was starting to make advances. And it really sort of made me cry a little bit because even though I told my brother, he kind of just told me, I just worked it off. Which because he was depressed himself, but in a way I don't think he had it as bad as I did, because I also had another demon that I had to confront. Alright, well, now I guess let's talk about the more embarrassing part, we could say. Now, as I have mentioned in my previous video, I did say I watched porn, and well, I did say I watched it, I watched it, in the one that I'm recording right now. Now, before you crack jokes Hey, he watches porn, or like that's funny, but trust me, when they tell you that oh, no one's getting hurt or no harm is being done, when when it gets to an addiction level, that's nothing more than lies. And to be honest, if you ask me, I probably would say you still shouldn't watch porn, even if it's not addicting. It's still not a good idea. Still not a good idea to watch a lot of it. Heck, probably you're better try not to watch it at all. Well, try not to watch it at all. And the reason why I say this is because I'm addicted. And starting in high school, I didn't want to believe it. I just thought, this is fine. And I sort of knew that something was up because I know I couldn't focus in class. Not just because some classes were boring, but just like my mind would be thinking of, pornography and, kind of disrupting my focus and whatnot. Although I can say over the years that did eventually slow down. I don't know if it's because I got used to it, but at first when I started, it felt more like a blessing. It seemed like something I needed, which I probably said that in the other video beforehand, but now I realize through all these years, through high school and even now, that no, I need to get this out of my life. Now, you're probably also thinking, what's the problem? You're not doing drugs, you're not smoking, or you're doing something like weed. No, trust me, addiction is addiction. Take it from me, addiction really isn't pretty. I mean, it's not. It's not good for your mental state, it's not good for your physical state. I mean, and honestly, it doesn't, it kind of ruins your emotional state. Sort of a part of the reason why sometimes I was quiet on my channel for quite some time now, because, I wanted free time, and most of that free time I'd watch, a lot of porn, at one point it did sort of hurt at first, but just like over the years I just grew content, like there's no way out, and out of this is just how I am. But I can say over time that it's like, the more you watch it or look at it, you crave it more. Like, to give an example, like back in high school, maybe I'd watch it 3 or maybe 2 or 3 times a week. But then at one point, it became just a daily occurrence. And the problem with that was that I would literally wake up and the first thing I think is, I gotta look at porn, and I'm just like, and I was eventually okay with it because, it brought me relief, and I sort of used it to help quell my own loneliness. Because I don't really know people, despite I'm a people person, so I didn't get out much, especially during the pandemic. I mean, where else was I supposed to go at the time? And just I didn't realize it at first because like I said, I just grew content with it. I stopped caring and just let myself live in the moment, I guess. But luckily I had a brother who cared. He was all like, "Hey, you gotta be doing better than this." It's like it was eventually affecting my time management, my sleep schedule, and basically affecting everything throughout my life. If you're saying, hey, you gotta do better than this. Now, although not the best sympathetic talk, but I can see what he was trying. And yeah, my brother is terrible when it comes to stuff like that. But I guess that annoyed me because at one point he sounded like he was talking on his high horse because in my head I was thinking, what did he know about addiction? And although I will admit he was right, but just like I said, I didn't know it was a way out. Matter of fact, for a long time, like for all these years, I was thinking I was a terrible person. I mean, yeah, sure, I know I wasn't a scumbag, but I mean, I didn't think I would be someone people would look up to. When I'm just thinking, why do these people look up to me? I'm just a guy. I ain't crap. And maybe that's something I'll never understand, because I think I'll never know what people experience when they catch my vibes, if you understand what I'm saying. And like, they're around me or something like that. And I kept telling myself these lies that it's okay, that there's no problem with this, but one day I just grew sick of it. Like, I just said, I'm not feeling any better, this isn't helping me, and just, I wanted to make that change, but a part of me is still clinging to it. Matter of fact, even to this day, it's still clinging, but I'm trying. And because I know that this thing's got me under bondage, and well, I want to be free. Shoot, I one time went for 5 days without it, and I felt like a free man. And I didn't want to feel terrible. I decided I no longer wanted to continue listening to these lies. It's because I knew it wasn't true. Because, in all honesty, it really is self-destructive. Whether you're going through it, or whether you're addicted to it, or you're just watching it, trust me when I say it really is self-destructive. I guess what really made me realize it was when I come to the realization that it's all fake. Those people behind the screens, or those anime girls you watch, they don't love you. And even though I told myself at first, but I guess a part of me still believed that, because like I said, I was alone, and it's not like I have too many people to care for. Or I guess because I still wanted to remain closed off. And I just, at one point I said, I do not wish to be like this anymore. I just wanted to be happy. And trust me, whatever you're gonna get from porn, it's only gonna last for only a little bit. It won't last long. Which is why you'll probably, the hunger for it continues to grow. And if you are addicted, then you understand that it's like it's basically compulsive. It's like you get into a trance, sort of. And then when you finally done what you needed to do, it's like you get back into reality in a sense. So I don't. So for anyone going out there, let me just tell you, whether you do drugs or porn, just let me ask you this: are you happier? And well, I'm not asking you this for me. I want you to ask yourself this: are you happier, or does this make you happy? Are you really at peace with this? And does this actually sit right with you? Who think on that? And if it doesn't, then you might have to change. Because honestly, the first thing you can do with addiction is you have to recognize the problem, and you have to wholeheartedly want to stop. Like, don't try and contradict yourself. Like, don't try and say, I only watch this a little bit, or I'll just do a little bit. Just no. You got to stop. Stop doing it altogether. And I know going cold turkey might sound hard, but honestly, it does get a little bit easier each and every day. And it's okay, you have a few bumps in the road. This isn't a quick jog. No. It's a marathon, to say that in perspective, in a physical perspective. And if you have to take it one step at a time, just pace yourself. And also, I recommend finding people who you can talk to. And I know that might sound hard, and it might sound like they could possibly judge you, but that's why find someone that you can absolutely trust. Whether it's a friend, it's your family, or heck, you feel comfortable enough, I'll listen to you and give you my thoughts. I won't judge you or belittle you. I mean, heck, I'm telling you about my porn addiction of all things. And also, I want to say that another fellow man of faith helped me realize that I was trying. And he told me, at least you are trying. You're trying to improve. You're trying to make steps. You're trying to get yourself back up. And which I thank him for that, because one thing I can say when turning 20 was that I don't have all the answers, and that sometimes I will fail. And in your routine, you can just know that too. That matter of fact, it's okay to fail. Sometimes through failure, you learn. Right? And I know that might sound hard to believe, since I know schooling's all like, you gotta get this right at first, but no. Sometimes sometimes it takes failure in order to make a great success in things. And things take time, so no need to rush. After all, when I was in high school, I didn't even know what I wanted to be, but now I'm thinking I want to do IT, and well, your boy almost has his AA. Okay, and also, I just want to say, you feel like you're at the end of your rope. Hope like there's no hope for you. Trust me, there is. You just have to be willing to talk to people. You had to be willing to persevere. And I can say here from my own knowledge that it's not easy. It's not. But I really do mean it when that if you work towards it and you decide that you want no parts of this, then it will eventually get easier every day. Like I remember one time I managed to stop for a full month, and I felt free. It was liberating. But eventually those those hours will turn into days, those days will turn into weeks, those weeks will turn into months, and then heck, years. But please, don't do what I did. Don't ignore the problem. Don't tell yourself. Don't tell yourself these lies. It will only just make things worse for you. You have to address the problem, and you have to see change. You feel like this isn't okay. You'll just end up getting stuck in a rut, and you will eventually go nowhere. And well, I guess to end it all, I guess I just want to say what's up with me now. Well, I know that there's still a long road ahead of me, but I know it doesn't have to be a lonely one. What? I know I've probably mentioned that, or if I haven't, well, let me mention it now, that I'd rather be alone than treated like crap. And I think that's probably why I dealt with the issues I had, because since I didn't want to open up to people because I was afraid that they would just backstab me. That I always never did blend in some cases. But now I've met some decent people online, and even though, yeah, sure, I hadn't met them face to face, at least they do encourage me. And I'm not saying you should reach out to someone online, but if they help you, then hey, more power to you. But I hope from everything that I've said up to now, or from all the videos I've posted about this, and even in this one, that I hope you learned something from my own experiences. If not, at least I hope you took these few things away, and that is, don't take rumors lightly, but don't take them too seriously at the same time. Take it with a grain of salt. Don't mess with crazy, and and that addiction can take many forms, and hopefully perseverance was another thing to take from this. I mean, because probably just like some of you may or may not feel that, I know what's like to feel like you're at the end of your rope and feel like nothing matters. But trust me, if you persevere, you will find something. Because I firmly believe this. If a person doesn't have something worth dying for, or something worth living for, then what is the point in living? And I felt that. I felt like there was nothing worth me living, and I was just living. I wasn't truly alive. And so I just hope anybody who's going through what I go through, I wish you the best, and that I hope that you have people in your corner. I mean, because it really does help you, and it really does help raise your mental and emotional state, because those two are very important. And I just hope for any of you who haven't made any of the mistakes I have, I hope that you at least learn from them, so therefore you don't have to make the same mistakes I did. It- and and, if you really don't feel loved, or you don't feel like no one cares about you, then know this much, that I care about you, that I love you. Because because I think it's cool enough alone that that when you listen to this video this far, because I know when I made this is gonna be really long, but it really does motivate me that that I'm literally just some nobody, and you guys actually watch my content. If no one else loves you, know that I do. That I think it is that you give me your time just to watch my videos and to hear my thoughts, or heck, or hear me talk about my own mistakes and shortcomings. And please, I really do. You do want you to ask yourself if you have any other, if you have problems. Just ask yourself: are you doing better? Are you truly okay? Hey, don't do it because I ask you to. Do it because you should think on your well-being. Because you as a person matter, and that, trust me when I say you are enough. You may or may not believe that, but trust me, you are enough. I know what it's like to feel like you're not enough for this. But trust me, you are. Right? You don't have to have all the answers in the world. As a matter of fact, you never will. And that's not to discourage, but that just means that you're always learning. Right? And yeah, sure, maybe you may not be able to pick up something at first, but over time, you can. I know that even though that I'm 20 years old, I know that there's a bunch of things that I don't know, and I've come to accept that. And that's, it's important that you define yourself. Don't let people weigh you down from what you want to do. Don't let people judge you for the things that you like doing. If you truly want to do something, go do it. Matter of fact, when I have been bringing this up, a part of the reason why I also stayed quiet was because I actually was writing my own story about a guy. I'm not gonna get into much details about it, but yeah, basically it was a guy who was down. He was down bad, and well, I used my own depression and other problems as fuel to write. And the thing is, you know me in person, I am not a writer. Like I do not enjoy writing. Like, that's not something that I just sit down and say I want to write. But I thought it was nice how I decided to open up a document and start typing. And I thought it was nice how I was creating something out from my own thoughts and imagination. So if you want to do something, just do it. Don't let people discourage you. Yeah, I think that's all I gotta say. So I just want to say, for anyone still here, I just want to say thank you. Thank you for listening to me and listening to my thoughts. I know I'm just one guy, but I really am glad that anybody listened my thoughts, because I know this is a whole lot different from what I usually do as far as my content goes, but I felt like this was something I needed to tell. And I do still want to be a content creator still. I just been busy doing other things like college, and heck, I said right. So yeah, just thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and I truly do wish you the better. And you really do have any of the issues that I've said throughout any of these parts, then I really do wish you the best, and that you can make it through this. You can. And also, one more thing. There's one more thing I wanted to say. Hey, remember this. Because you are not alone in this. Some people will stand by your side. Right? You just have to find them. You know, and that you are loved and appreciated. Because without love, you truly are bankrupt. And that goes for me, and that goes for anyone out there. So remember that you are loved. I just want you to know that. And thank you. Thank you for listening to me. And for what it's worth, you guys don't mind me. I hope that I make it a nice and enjoyable experience for you going forward as a person, and as I make content on YouTube. I will at least try and not make it a boring experience for anyone who watches. And I just want to say one more time, thank you. And I hope you have a blessed day.